right now.
Oh, Stacia's not here.
Stacy's at work. That's where Alex said she's going. We're live.
Yay!
On this one.
Well, we're live on mine. Hello, everybody.
Hold on. He's got a bunch of...
Oh, okay.
Hold on. You see, you're bumping me, and I'm going to screw something up.
Well, no, I will give you that.
All right. I think we got this.
I can't hear you talk.
Because you got the volume probably turned down or something. I don't know. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So.
Hello, everyone. How are y'all doing?
It's 1 minute early. Maybe we shouldn't.
Ken's going to play a little music for you. Isn't that sweet of him?
You know, I tried to play music and what's his name? I can hear you. Thanks, Todd.
Squirrel.
So, I played some music on our show one day.
Yeah.
And I got a warning from YouTube.
No.
Because I violated some sort of copyright or something.
How did you violate a copyright?
Because I played a song.
Oh, you're not allowed to do that.
I know now.
Yeah, well, I've told you that before.
Well, I don't listen to you.
No shit, okay?
All right. Now it's 6 p.m. Now you can introduce
Oh, right. I'm allowed to introduce the show.
I could play the drums if I want to. They don't have a copyright on my drumming.
Well, that's what I thought. Oh, you played a song. I thought you meant you played a song on your drum.
No.
And I was like, really? Okay. All right. So this is Ken Goldberg. Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder. And AJ, his co-host. And Ken is an attorney in 3 different states, which baffle most of this country, but it is the truth. And he used to have a radio show in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for several years. Something like that. Something like that. We're going for it.
Went on for years.
Yeah. And I have, and he is a former Buddhist monk, which, okay. We love Ken. He meditates. He Wednesday nights at the Buddhist temple on Stoltz Road in Dallas at 7 p.m. He has a wonderful meditation class. It's awesome. And anything else I'm skipping about you?
If they would let me keep my hair, I'd go back to the temple. Craig joined, and Craig got to keep his hair because he's a different kind of Buddhist.
Oh, maybe you need to join the other
kind.
He
gets to keep his hair.
Maybe you need to join the other kind.
Well, I thought about that. I know, but I've kind of developed an allegiance to the Theravada monks that, they're the ones that taught me everything I know about Buddhism. Well, but was afraid to ask.
Yeah. AJ, I have Dallas Yoga Magazine I publish, and I also put on the Cosmic Yogi Festivals, among other things. So, yay! Want to see my lipstick? Ken told me not to show y'all, but I got this beautiful new lipstick on. It is called Sexy Mother Pucker. Whoa, Sexy Mother Pucker. How funny is that?
Okay. Pucker.
Sexy Mother Pucker. I think it's adorable. That's why I bought it. And it turned out to be a really good lipstick. So just saying, Sexy Mother Pucker.
All right. So today's show.
Yes, today's show.
Today's show. I want to start out with the boringest first.
Okay. Which I didn't know anything was boring. I kind of want to
build on that.
Okay.
I build the excitement to a denouement. Oh. So a lot of people, they expect to learn a little something about the law each time, right? Mm-hmm. We do that.
We try.
Mm-hmm. If they don't learn something, it's really their fault.
I ask questions and you get perturbed with me because I don't, I feel if I don't understand, probably y'all don't understand.
I had a shingle shot today.
Oh, you did?
My arm hurts.
Oh, I'm sorry. This one?
Oh, man, you're cruising for a bruising, kid. So I found out that federal prosecutors in Kansas City, and this really hurts me because I have been defending federal prosecutors of the last 2 years because, the president and others like him have been accusing the prosecutor's office of a deep state and, all this crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you something. Federal prosecutors have a lot more integrity than that. Blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And I defended the FBI. Well, it turns out if you were incarcerated while you were waiting your case in a private prison,
Right.
wow, what sleazeballs, Corrections Corporation America, what they were doing was they were taping. Now, we know.
But these are only private prisons that this is happening in.
Well, that's the one that's been uncovered.
Yeah. Okay. So
But-
we don't know the other ones. Okay.
Yeah, they probably record in all of them
Mhm.
because you get this warning. It's being recorded. But, okay, ethical standards between of lawyers,
Uh-huh.
prosecutors, defense lawyers, all lawyers. You cannot access a confidential conversation unless
Sure.
they do something that brings it into the public realm. Like you're sitting there and I'm talking to my client here,
Right, right.
and you can hear everything.
Sure, sure.
So they were having phone conversations and sitting in rooms doing interviews, being videotaped and recorded by the prison
At a private prison.
using a private company called something. I don't remember at the moment, but that doesn't matter. And then they were sharing it with the prosecutor's office.
I just don't even know what to say about that.
And the
That's
prosecutor's
unbelievable.
office said, well, they had warning because when you're using the phone, it says this call may be recorded. Yeah, we know about that. But when you say this privileged phone
Right.
call pursuant to the ethical and legal obligations of the in the law, then that cannot be used. It's not to be exposed. Well, apparently, thousands of these
Oh, those cases can be thrown out?
No.
Wow.
No. So 3 years ago, it was made public that prosecutors working with Corrections Corporation of America, by the way, they've renamed themselves Core Civic.
What the hell?
So they run a detention center in Leavenworth, Kansas. Why can't the feds run their own prisons?
Don't look at me.
That's in Leavenworth. That's like the big
That's
prison
the biggest one.
for them was
Right,
in Leavenworth.
right.
They can't even run their prisons. By the way, we're broadcasting simultaneously on YouTube, Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder. So, so there was an investigation opened. I forget what stimulated, but a federal judge conducted an investigation, had special prosecutor look into it, and a federal judge, in a scathing order this week, held that the U.S. Attorney's Office in Kansas was in contempt of court for its pattern of misrepresentations, obfuscation, which is hiding, and lack of cooperation during an investigation into a growing scandal. A ruling by the district judge was the end of a 3-year probe that looked at the extent to which federal prosecutors in Kansas had accessed recordings of confidential phone calls and meetings between defense attorneys and their clients. I mean, this is ethics 101.
It is. And I just
If
don't
you
even
go to law
understand that.
school, and so they were saying, well, we didn't think. First off, one woman took 106 pages of notes, a prosecutor, and she said, well, it was nothing important, and the judge is like, you took 106 pages of handwritten notes and nothing, you weren't listening to anything you thought was important. Liar.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So she said, well, I told other people in the office, nobody said I was doing anything wrong.
Wow. She knew.
Of course, audio recordings of attorney-client calls that were obtained
Continue to be produced.
Continue to be produced as up until now, almost 3 years after the investigation began.
I know.
Yeah, and they keep hiding the P. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They keep saying, well, we can't produce this, we can't produce that. That's contempt. That's contempt of court. So I'm really upset by this. And they were using the information they had. For instance, this one woman discussed with her lawyer issues. She was willing to plea bargain, but she had concerns. So she was telling him, listen, as long as I can get this, I would settle for that. This is how the prosecutor knows where her Achilles heel is.
Right, absolutely.
Right? And another case, a guy had a witness. He told his lawyer that he had a witness who was incarcerated that would help exonerate him. And the prosecutor's office went to this guy and said, if you testify on behalf of this guy, we're going to make it hard on you, right? So,
wow.
Yeah. So this just goes
Isn't
on
that
and
tampering with a witness? That's
Well-
witness tampering.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. So can't
Yeah.
they be charged with that? And isn't that a felony? Just as is,
What do you want from me?
I think they should charge them.
Well, they may. It took years after there was a demonstration of torture in Chicago by the
Mhm.
police, which was leading to confessions. Some may have been accurate, some were not accurate,
Mhm.
right? Took years for the system to respond. By the time they responded and investigated, the statute of limitation on the torture had expired. So they came to the conclusion that Lieutenant John Burge, lieutenant in a homicide division on the south side of Chicago, had been systematically torturing or allowing the torture of criminal suspects. The primary way of torture was to use a car battery
No, this isn't. Are you serious? How long did he get away with this for?
for years.
And then what happened to him
They
when
would
they caught
attach
him?
them to the genitals.
No, they did not.
Yes, they
Where
did.
was this?
In Chicago,
How long
several years ago.
ago? No.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I can't. That's just. So what happened to this guy who was torturing these people?
So by the time they had enough evidence, they said the statute of limitations had gone. They couldn't charge him. The government said, well, we think he's guilty, but we can't charge him because it's been too long. Okay.
Oh, I would have put
So
that all
then-
over in the newspaper.
Well, they did.
Yeah, good.
They did. And then he was sued in civil court, him and I guess some other officers. And when they got to the civil court, he was subpoenaed. He took the stand. And he said, I never tortured anybody. So after the trial, the feds arrested him and charged him with perjury and said, well, we can prove you tortured people. So we're going to get you for perjury. You
Oh,
lied under oath in court. So he got, I think, 3 years in a federal
at
penitentiary.
least he got something.
Yeah. And then he died recently.
Did they attach the batteries to his balls?
Ha, that would have been justice.
That would have been justice.
So let me tell you about the fallout of that, by the way, because the
It's not working
fallout
again.
is continuing. It went off.
No, it's just not. I mean, like, it's not
Oh,
working. Go ahead.
So the fallout is that Cook County, Illinois, has probably the only active torture commission. Okay, so what they did was they created a torture commission. I don't know who's on it or why or how, and they evaluate claims of torture by John Burge and his people.
Mhm.
And if they find it credible, it now, no matter how long it's been,
Uh-huh.
the case can go back to the chief judge of the criminal court for review to see whether they should reopen the case and perhaps give them a retrial.
Don't you think that would
It's called
leave
the Torture
scars?
Commission.
Don't you think that would leave scars?
Probably not, or
Really?
they wouldn't do it.
Uh,
I had homicide case, and my client,
I thought you were going to say you had your never mind. You were tortured by your boss.
I went within 24 hours. I was at the police station. Kid I knew already, and he said, "Yeah, they've been beating me with a phone book. So they put a phone
Yeah, I
book
remember you
against
told me
you, and they
something like
hit you."
Right. You told me about
And
that.
so, is he credible? I wasn't there, right? So we're sitting in the court.
Uh-huh.
We're in the middle of this murder trial, and they bring out this witness to testify against him, and he gets on the stand and he says, "Yeah, I didn't see him do this." And the prosecutor said, "But you testified under oath before a grand jury." He said, "Yeah, they made me. They told me if I didn't, they charged me with the homicide." So he recanted. That's called
Right.
a recant.
Right.
So he's under oath. So they said, "Well, you said under oath," and I said, "But now under oath."
Mhm.
And he said, "Well, this guy was threatening me, right?"
Right.
So next day,
That's witness tampering.
we're sitting in court. Door opens. In comes this police officer, gang crimes officer, and my client says, "That's the guy that was beating me. What's he doing here?" And I said, "Because I think he beat your witness too." So they're bringing him in to say that the witness is lying. And that's exactly what they did. They put him on the stand. He said, yeah, he was in custody. No, we never threatened this guy. And my kid's going, he didn't know this guy's name or anything. He just saw, the moment the guy came to the door, he said, "By the way, that's the guy that was beating me when I was arrested." So, of course, he's telling the truth. How would he know?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, and it goes on. Even today, there are people who are applying to the Torture Commission for relief.
Wow.
All right. Speaking of bad cops, let's get right to the next one. A Houston police officer by the name of Goins, Gerald Goins,
Not a
54 years old, had been on the department for many years. He gets a lead on a drug case because he works in narcotics, right?
Okay.
And so somewhere along the line, it's kind of unclear. He goes and gets a search warrant to go to a residence where he claims a buy was made of narcotics.
Yes.
So that warrant.
This is really bad, by the way.
Yeah,
This whole thing is-
it's real bad.
This is bad.
So the warrant is given over to a tactical team to go in there and, get the evidence and take people into custody. So the next day, boom, bang, they break in the door. I think it was at night, I'm pretty sure. And there was a phone tip in, supposedly.
Supposedly,
right?
that was the.
And this guy went to a judge to get a warrant, a no-knock warrant. That means that there's immediate risk that of harm
Off
to
of
the
a
officers.
tip, off of a phone call? We'd all be screwed if that was
he
true.
says he followed up and a confidential informant made a buy for him.
Oh,
Turns out
that there was.
he then claimed after everything fell apart, well, I made the buy, but I don't know if it was the guy in the house now. And so here's what happens. They go in. I'm really curious what time of day it was on a no-knock warrant.
Usually they go in the morning, don't they?
No, they go in all times of day. Well, I don't see. Late in the afternoon, narcotics squad raided the house in search of suspected heroin dealers. And what happened is the couple inside the house, this one guy started shooting at them.
Sure.
And there was a shootout. 4 officers were shot. None died, but both the man and the woman in the house were shot dead.
Correct.
Okay.
And the dog too, I think.
Yes, the dog was shot dead immediately because the dog came running when people just banged through the door.
Sure.
And we have seen this happen. We talked about it on the air. This 80-plus-year-old woman in Atlanta, Georgia, where they accidentally went to her house looking for a marijuana dealer in the middle of the night in plain clothes. She came out with a handgun and they killed her. No drugs. She wasn't dealing. It was her home. So
that's a boo-boo.
They found small amounts, what they call user level amounts of cocaine and marijuana in the house.
Man, we would have been screwed in the 80s.
So this landed up being investigated, and this guy's now charged with felony murder. Did we talk about felony murder last week?
I don't know.
Well, there was another case of felony murder, but I'll explain it because Ken Goldberg, the lawyer part, likes you to understand all these elements because there's a very famous felony murder case in Dallas right now that started last week, when 4 teenagers went out to McKinney or something and they tried to steal a car in a guy's driveway, and he came out and says they came towards him with a knife. He opened fire and he killed one boy.
And there was no knife.
We don't know that yet. They're not telling us. But 4 kids jumped in the car, and then when you woke up in the morning, the news showed a car that had slammed into a tree. Kids tried to run. They were all teenagers. So they charged the 3 remaining kids with felony murder because if you are in the commission of a felony and somebody dies, you are guilty of felony murder. You don't have to be the one that pulls the trigger. So I'm sitting outside. You say I'm going in. I'm gonna rob this liquor store. I just want you to be lookout. I don't even have bullets in the gun. I'm just gonna scare the guy.
Right.
You go in. You kill the guy. Shoot him. Whatever it is you do. The guy sitting on the car is guilty of murder.
Wow.
Now. Okay. Because
when did that pass?
Felony. It's been forever.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
I believe you. I just had no idea. That's quite interesting.
So under the felony murder rule, they've charged the 3 teenagers who were trying to steal a car with murder. Well, this officer is being charged with murder because the felony committed was lying to the judge about the facts of the case because they weren't the facts, right? So he's being charged with felony murder. And the police are up in arms. They think this is overkill. This is overcharging. And some of his buddies are in trouble too, because apparently, as they began an internal investigation, they found out that this wasn't the first or last time that these fools were doing that stuff, right?
Wow.
Okay, so speaking of police,
All right.
I'm on a roll.
Was that your segue? That was
segue.
pretty good. Hold on. I think that deserves a round of applause. Oh, maybe a drum roll. Oh, that was good.
All right.
Drum roll.
You can type questions if you wish.
Hey, Patty.
Ginny, Tammy,
See, mine's
Eva,
broken again.
Vicky.
Broken again. We'll have to figure out what's going on. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, because we're 20 minutes into the
I
show.
know. We'll figure it out next
Yeah.
time.
And you know, I've
happened
complained
twice now.
about this before,
Mm-hmm.
that we can see people come, but we can't see them leave. So
Well,
we
yeah.
may think somebody's watching or listening.
Well, last time, remember, they all popped up at the end? A whole crowd of them. Yeah, so I don't know.
All right, so
Something's wrong.
speaking of police officers, an Arizona law allows the keeper of records to purge police
This is
misconduct
the weirdest.
allegations
Where do they come up with
after
this
3
stuff?
years.
3 years.
If it was unsubstantiated, 5 years if it was substantiated, but there was no subsequent complaints. Well, the problem is we already know there's been a lot of cases, lawsuits against police departments, where when you looked into this officer's background,
Right.
you found out they had many complaints.
Correct.
They aren't necessarily founded because police officers are investigating police officers. So it's not uncommon for a complaint to be
Right.
unfounded, right?
Correct.
So Arizona says, well, you know what? So this is a hot topic because there was a guy. You all saw this video. If you didn't see the video, you kind of look for it. Woman, man, child, doll, stole
Oh, I
it.
saw it.
Didn't get paid for it. Man stole underwear. They're
Did he
in the
really
parking
steal the
lot.
underwear?
Well, he was accused of it.
Okay.
I don't know. Policeman comes.
But
They're
the
black.
little girl took a doll.
Policeman's white. And
That was
he
bad.
immediately pulls his gun. He's swearing it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I got my child here. Calm down. You know. And he just escalated. And people
It was bad.
were standing around. You could hear them yelling, calm down to
Right.
the cop.
Right.
He wouldn't calm down. They threw her to the ground, as
Yeah.
I recall.
Yeah.
And it was for a stolen doll.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I honestly don't. I mean, Kate, if she's a mother, busy, not paying attention, exhausted, she might not have even been paying attention to the
Right.
daughter walking out
you know
with the
what?
doll.
But let's go for broke.
I
Let's say
mean-
she was stealing the doll.
Okay.
And
Still,
let the
you don't
kid do
deserve
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you don't threaten to kill somebody.
No, in
over a
front of a
doll.
child.
You know, so
In front of the child.
I'm not on the
yeah.
cop side on this one. I mean, they weren't displaying firearms or anything. He just wanted her to comply, and she was trying to calm him down
Yeah.
and tell him, you know,
It was a bad
Uh,
scene.
it was ugly. He was, how many did he
I
yell at
know.
her? And
In
I'll
front of the
kill you,
child.
and
That child will always remember that.
so when they looked, they couldn't find much, but they found that just in the 3 years, he had all kinds of citizen complaints.
Right.
The article says his file is rife with references to other citizen complaints, an officer-involved shooting, and car crashes. But there is no further information on any of that
Right.
in the 400 plus pages of personnel records that this newspaper got under the Freedom of
Well, what freaks me out is that they even were telling the police officers to make sure to purge their files.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
police chief.
purge your
and-
files and make sure the things you don't want in there aren't in there.
Yeah, as soon as you're legally allowed to purge
Right.
them, make sure you purge them. And he was a police chief, I think, in Mesa. And subsequently, there's a new police chief, and he's like, what else is going on here? What? So he brought in a former city attorney for our county attorney for Maricopa County. Let me tell you, those guys are the right of Attila Hun, okay? And he said this is just wrong.
Right.
This
It
was
is.
a bad policy. How can I investigate and help you clean up your department when I
Exactly.
can't tell what your department's been doing?
I agree.
So if you've got a county attorney saying you're screwing up to a
Well,
police
they're literally
department.
saying, so technically every 3 years, these people can do heinous things. Now 5. So every 5 years, they can be involved in a shooting and then let go. I mean, like purposely troubling issues.
So
I'm
in
gonna
Chicago, we investigated, or I don't know if you would say we investigated. Candace, the attorney I was working with, she's still on the case. I'm not. She investigated. There were 57, I think, 57 police shootings in the city of Chicago that had been investigated.
Mm-hmm.
None had resulted in discipline.
It was in there. The numbers were in here.
Yeah,
It was crazy because the numbers
yeah,
in
that
here,
the Phoenix
right?
police
Right.
officers, just Phoenix, which has 3,000 police officers, shot at people 44 times in 2018. So if you don't have a frame of reference,
Here we go. Here's your
is
frame.
that we don't know, right? Okay, New York Police Department.
Yes, 40,000 police officers.
40,000 police officers, and they shot at people half the time.
23 times.
23 times.
Hmm.
There's a frame of reference.
There's a frame of reference. 40,000 police officers compared to 3,000. The 3,000 police officers shot 44 times, and the New York City police officers only shot 23 times.
Well, a lot of bad people live in Phoenix because you know what?
Really? That's what you're going with?
Yeah, Arpaio.
And New York City doesn't have a lot of bad people?
Sheriff Arpaio
my
lived
God.
there, and he is scum. This Sheriff Arpaio, you know who he is. Made him wear pink underwear.
Well, they did that in Dallas, too.
No,
Well, that's not what my friend told me. He said he had pink underwear.
Yeah, well, they'll tell you anything.
That's a good point.
Sheriff Arpaio was convicted of contempt of court, pardoned by the president, and is now running for sheriff of Maricopa County again.
Okay.
He is such a sleazeball. So he lives there. So then, that's just the tip of the scum iceberg. So,
Yeah,
maybe
I would not be moving to Arizona.
Sheriff Arpaio is so focused on.
Even though Arizona is wonderful, beautiful, with wonderful people, some of them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Choose to live there.
I got friends in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just saying, any place that would elect Arpaio for 20 years
right.
has very little regard for a human life. All right. So the last article before we segue is that we're going to talk about transgender travelers.
Yeah, this is sort of sad. Yes.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little
It's going to be an issue.
controversial because a lot of people think transgenders shouldn't be able to intrude into normal lifestyle without some sort of restraint, i.e. bathrooms, schools, teachers, whatever, right?
Well, some of the places, some states are not allowing transgender people until they show that they've had post-surgery. Then they cannot change. Until then, they can't change their license.
Right.
So
what's happening is the Transportation Security Administration, that's the ones at the airport that check you as you go through security, and talk about some, oh my God, loose cannons. Anyways, so here's the thing. This machine that I've been submitting to the last several times, this body scanner, it's called a millimeter wave scanner. And it's manufactured by L3 Harris Technologies. And it relies on an algorithm to analyze images of a passenger's body and identify any threats concealed by the clothes.
And they actually have to push a button when you're going through if you're a male or female. So they look at you and they push a button.
Certain data. So that you have to put in the sex.
Correct.
So what's happening to transgender women,
pre-op,
yes, is their penis is coming up as being something
that shouldn't be there and that they're smuggling something or something's wrong and they need to be checked.
Right. So you're transgender, and I get it. These guys, listen, you can't trust the TSA to use discretion and think that a penis isn't a bomb, okay? Because it could be, right? So let's assume that's what you think. There's a couple ways to deal with that. You could do a search, or like a pat down. Huh?
Must have a big penis if they're thinking it's a bomb.
Well, listen, when I was working in security, there was a company that I worked with that used to take an alarm clock with wires attached to these red sticks and put it in suitcases and go to airports to test security. They were
Right.
hired.
Right.
They almost never got caught. And that's not C3 or C4.
Right.
That's not the tricky stuff. This looked like an old-fashioned, bomb that would have been on the
I choose to
Roadrunner.
believe they'd get
What's
caught
the name?
today.
The Roadrunner? The
Yes, I know what you're talking
Acme
about.
Brick Company?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't.
I choose to believe that I choose to believe that they would get caught today. Okay, I choose to believe that. Just let me live in my fantasy world. Okay.
Yeah, well, keep living in your fantasy world. So,
but this bothered me because of how it was handled. Okay, like what they did in this. So continue.
Let me tell you about TSA, because right from the beginning, TSA was a hodgepodge of training and hiring. And when they first started, of course, I was in the security industry, and I had trained a lot of guys who then quit the security business they were in and went over to the TSA because it paid better, right? And what was phenomenal was the turnover at the TSA is, they said 17%, which is about the same as most federal agencies, but there's the turnover. I don't know how they arrive at that, because back in the day, and I think I talked about it, they were paying bonuses to TSA agents to not quit the job.
Right.
Until the end of the travel season, because they were going to be short-handed.
So the deal was, if you were working there, you knew to say, I'm going to quit before the travel season, so you get a bonus to stay. Okay, that's cool.
So I was living in Arizona, right? And Arizona was simultaneously passing these really stringent laws aimed at immigrants, illegal immigrants.
I know, that's one of the reasons I don't want to live in Arizona.
And we talked about, one of them was that if you were caught with illegal immigrants in your car, so you were a landscaper that was using some illegal,
or a teacher driving their students home after school.
Oh, yeah.
I'm serious. Yeah. How many times did I drive my students home after
But
school?
supposedly it was really geared towards the Home Depots, where guys would gather and wait for somebody to come by needing day labor, right? Mm-hmm. So there were all these, it was very stringent laws, and they were aimed at business owners also. But you could lose your vehicle if you were caught with illegal immigrants. So why was I talking about that? Help me.
Well, no, I don't know.
TSA.
Yes, TSA.
Right. So TSA was losing people. I mean, it was bleeding employees. And I'm sitting there, I'm on the air at the time, and I'm like, so let me get this straight. You're working at a job paying about $30,000 a year in an air-conditioned airport. The biggest thing you do is, you're not lifting anything.
I don't know. You get to touch some good-looking men. I don't know, or girls, whatever you're into.
And you're quitting that job. I'm pretty sure you're not showing up at my house asking if you can work in 100 degrees and clean up the cactus. Because I had a half acre of cactus, pure, unadulterated cactus with rattlesnakes,
and you wonder why
pack rats, and scorpions that were living in there, right? Gila monsters.
I thought Texas was bad with the scorpions, but okay.
Oh, we had a lot of rattlesnakes and stuff. They didn't bother anybody. Okay. If you don't bother them, they don't bother you. Well, occasionally, as one guy went to Lowe's and bought a.
I can already tell.
He bought a potted thing, and he stuck his hand in, like, I don't know. And there was a rattlesnake hanging in there. He got bit.
Oh, that sucks.
So, sometimes.
Did he live?
Yeah. Okay.
Sucked it out.
Because most of our hospitals.
They tell you not to suck it out anymore.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So.
What are you supposed to do? Just cut it open? Let it blow you out until you get to the hospital? What do you do?
They tell you to get to a hospital quickly.
Okay.
Because you have to be careful, because the quicker you move, the more you stimulate your bloodstream, the quicker the toxin gets to your heart.
Okay.
So you're supposed to try to slow down the blood flow from the point of injection to your heart.
Do you put a tourniquet around it then? Would that be smart?
Yeah.
Put a tourniquet around right above it?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just always thought you were supposed to suck it out, and then I heard that you didn't do that.
I had a suck it out kit.
Oh, did you
Somebody
really?
gave me, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Because I hiked a lot. All right, so
back to TSA. Sorry, and the poor transgender people who are getting patted down and accused because this woman was gorgeous. They didn't know that she was even a male, and then she got pulled in by TSA and made her. And she actually, the only way they allowed her to get on the plane was for her to pull down her panties to show them that she had a penis, and then they allowed her to get on the plane.
Yes, but they're not supposed to do that.
Correct.
So she got lucky that they let her just do that.
Mhm.
They're not supposed to let them get naked, but and so they've been trying. There's 43,000 screeners.
Yep.
Okay, 43,000 screeners.
Well, and then the problem is that the transgender community is only 1%, no, slightly less than 1% of the population. So they're not going to fit into a computer program algorithm.
Well, they said black women's hair also triggers
There you go.
something in these machines.
Mhm.
They're trying to work out the bugs, but it's been many years
Right. You
since
think
the machines.
you think they'd have the hair situation tackled?
You know, I don't even want to go through the machine. It's X-ray.
Oh, because it's
Got stuff in it. It's got.
well, I know.
If it can see through you, it's doing things
Well,
that I don't want.
It also can see breast implants.
Well, I don't have those.
But I'm
so
just
not-
telling you, I know. I don't either personally, but I know this.
And I didn't know they were
I don't
looking
know
at
if
my
it's true
packages.
anymore, but they wouldn't it, oh, can they see that too?
That's what the whole thing is.
No, they did well, they knew something was wrong because they were thinking, but they thought it was
No, it identifies a penis and breast.
I know that's because, but they pushed the button and the button was incorrect. Like
No,
they pushed a
no.
girl button and then
Yes,
it
but
showed
they
up she
can
had a
still
penis.
see. So
Yes.
the alarm doesn't trigger,
Correct.
but they can still see.
Sure, I think so. I think they can
Yeah.
see all that, can't they?
Well, yeah.
I know.
So you get in there. Anyways, I
I know.
don't like going through it, and you can opt out.
But I understand why they're doing this.
But you can opt out and be searched. But apparently, they will make your life miserable. They'll take a long time.
Right. And
The
you'll miss your
sender-
plane a lot of
Yeah,
times.
yeah. So that's that. All right.
Well, I don't think, but seriously, I don't think I'd want to be one of those patter downers.
Well, you're not.
No, but I really don't think I would want to do that job. I would think no wonder people would. Plus, people are mean and nasty and spiteful to the people. Instead of saying, I understand this is your job, thank you for keeping us safe. I think people in line they're agitated, they're mad they're having to wait this long. And I think they take it out on those people. I think that's partly why they don't stay in those jobs for long.
Well, I don't know, because if you're hassling them, they can hassle you more than you can hassle them.
Well, I know.
And you're getting paid good, and you're in an air-conditioned environment, and it doesn't take a lot of education.
No, I know, but I remember this one time in particular. I went through and they pulled me aside and they were patting me down, and the woman was being so rude to me. And I was just standing there. I'm like, you can pat me down, no problem. I don't have a problem. Keep us safe. Thank you. And she was just awful. She didn't want me. I don't know, but it was bad. She was nasty.
Well, you just defended them a second ago because you're saying people being nasty.
I know, but I think
Well,
it's because I think it builds up that they just are nasty to people because they're so used
That's
to
the
being
argument the
crapped
cops
on.
make too.
Okay,
And
well,
I'm buying.
I'm
that
always
one
nice
either.
to cops.
You know, serve and protect.
They tried to steal my belt at DFW airport. So I had this really expensive belt on, and they made me take it off, of course. And I went through the thing, and I get to the end, there's no belt. And I go, "Where's my belt?" And the lady behind the thing says, "Oh, no belt, no belt." And I go, "No, I took my belt off back there." And she goes, "No belt." And I shouldn't have done this, but I did. I walked around where she was, and there was a box. And she had taken my belt and thrown the belt in the box. And it was a bunch of stuff that they were trying to. So
what happened?
I called a cop over that was standing over there. I go, "I want you to see this box. That's my belt." And she told me I didn't have a belt, and that's my belt. I said, "I got to catch a plane, but this is wrong. You need to fix this."
So what happened?
I don't know. I left. I had to catch a plane. I got my belt. But the lady was trying to steal my belt, and she worked for TSA.
Oh, people at the airport, the TSA,
Oh
they've
my
been
God.
implicated over and over again.
Oh
in
my
theft.
God, she was trying to
They
steal
were
my
stealing
belt.
stuff
No,
out
you
of
don't have a
luggage.
belt. Well, I'm
Left
getting my
and right.
$500 belt back.
They
bitch.
were seeing stuff in that they thought they wanted on the X-ray machine, and they were stealing.
Yeah.
So there's no defense. For
I was
those
like, "No,
folks.
bitch, I'm getting my belt back."
All right, so that's the first half of the show. It's actually more than the first half. I don't know. Gary had said TSA's trained just too hard something.
To be
He even
hard.
talked about
Mhm.
them harassing the airport staff.
Oh, interesting.
But there's a word, statues. Just to be hard
Statues.
Is that like just stand
Yeah,
there? And,
yeah.
yeah.
I think that's what he means.
Well, and Gary worked at the airport, got to know those guys. I got no, listen, when I was in the security industry and I was training security guards, most of the security guards in the DFW area at one time came through my academy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A little
And
scary.
okay,
Was this prior to or during drug use or after drug use?
Oh,
Or,
no.
yeah,
There was no
relapse time.
No.
Just easy.
So we ran an academy
Uh-huh.
that trained security guards. I was licensed. My staff was licensed. The facility was licensed. And
That's a good deal, dude.
what?
Didn't that make money?
Some days it made money. I mean,
Yeah.
why you assume it just made a bunch of money?
I don't know. There seems to be a lot of security guards out there now. That's why I'm saying that. A
There
lot of
are, but
security
once
companies.
they're trained and they have their certification, all they ever need to do really is to qualify on a handgun every 2 years. So,
Right.
so you only get them one time.
Yeah, it just seems to be
Okay.
a lot of security guard
So
companies out
these
there.
guys started walking in after 9/11. Hey, man, I got a job with the Marshal Service. I'm going to be riding planes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I know you, and you barely make a good concierge guard.
Oh, honey, don't even. Yeah, I know.
What?
It makes me nauseous because I was thinking of a couple people in particular who were like security and at Dallas schools at Sunset High School, and they didn't.
Those
they were
guys get in
they
trouble
were
all
plain.
the time.
They were plain clothes. He was plain clothes, but like this man, there was something wrong with him. Like mentally, he was. There was
a lot
some.
of these guys aren't that swift.
No, I mean
I'm
like
not-
beyond bad. Like he had serious social problem. He definitely was not, up there with knowledge or.
So what was he doing there?
Well,
Why?
so he started as security, but just like
You're not
walking
gonna
around the
get- you're not
school
gonna-
without a gun.
Yeah.
Okay, but then he went ahead and they trained him, and he got to carry a gun and was part of Dallas ISD's police force. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. When I saw him walking down there, this man had no business in that position. I don't even know what to say. It baffled me and upset me so bad. Okay, I'm done.
All right. So what did you do about it?
Oh, I went to the principal.
What
And
the
he
principal
said
do about it?
nothing.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was like, well,
So
that's
you-
out of my hands. And I said, how did he get this? Did you recommend him? He says, no, I did not. And I said, well, how did he even pass his psychological test?
What psychological test?
Are you serious? There's no test.
That's funny. So
You have to pass one to be a police officer, don't you?
you have to sometimes, most places, yeah.
Well, the reason Dallas started their own police
Well,
force
maybe
was so they
because
didn't
it
have
was
to
a
report all the
police force.
crimes.
Maybe.
They
But
did. So they didn't have to report all the
school
crimes.
security people are very frequently very dangerous.
Oh my God. Yeah, and that's why Dallas started it, because then the crime level went down like it was ridiculous, like 50%. Well, no shit, they weren't reporting the crimes.
Did you have to swear?
Just
Oh
baffled.
God, can't you just proclaim something?
No, it
without
baffled. When you're a teacher
profanity?
down there for 15 years and you're seeing this happen, it was so
I want to
disturbing.
apologize.
So this one
Who's still
security,
laughing?
the
You're obviously-
Dallas ISD police officer. Okay, so I saw this Coke on the floor. I reached down, I handed it to the police officer. He looks at it, he goes, huh? He throws it in the trash. Okay, all right. Well, he could have disposed of it without doing anything, and then walks away. And I stood there as a kid, walked over, looked in, took it, and he goes, "Thanks, Miss AJ," and walks away with it.
I don't understand. What did he throw out?
Cocaine. So I found
And you
cocaine on the
took
floor.
cocaine.
So I took the cocaine and I gave it to the police officer.
And
Said,
he
"Can
threw
you
it out.
dispose?" He threw it in
disposed
the
of it.
trash can in the middle of the lunch cafeteria with everyone watching. So then, as soon as he walked away, the kid went over and got the cocaine out of it and put it in his pocket and walked away. Great job, dude. Thanks.
Well, she just strolled down memory lane.
Can't help it. They bother me.
I've forgotten even what the topic is.
The police officer, the Dallas ISD police, some of them are great, but there's a lot of them that aren't.
I just did a whole thing on bad cops.
Can't help it. It just
Why didn't you
bothers
jump in then?
I don't know. I'm
Instead
off
of
on a
jumping
tangent right
about
now because the TSA just pisses me off too.
But they're not cops.
I know, but I don't
But
understand.
I did a whole segment. I did a whole segment on bad cops.
I told you I went off on a tangent.
You know,
And it's important that we have TSA. It's important that we're getting on the same plane safely and everything. But yeah, something.
oh, you're the one that loves TSA, even though they're nasty to you.
They do not love TSA. They tried to steal my belt.
You lamented
They
how
tried to
badly
say-
they're treated.
They are treated badly.
You offered nothing in support of that, other than that the one time that you went through and they stole your stuff, and another time that you went through.
They are treated
they
badly.
treated
I
you
see
rudely.
people at the airport being mean to them all the time.
God, does anybody out there know what I'm trying to?
Where did it happen to your stuff? Oh, you're going to your thing. Okay.
Does anybody understand why I might be frustrated?
I'm
Not just
sorry.
that-
I went
not
up.
just that it's a tangent.
I went off
It's-
on my little tangent because of everything I've experienced.
This is-
Inner city teaching, 15 years, seeing how they dealt with these kids, seeing these police officers. It's horrific, and I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent. I apologize.
So, but something about the tangent that just it's the way you just when you grab it, you can't turn it
I apologize,
loose.
Kathy.
You can't turn it loose.
I'm letting it go right now.
Do you know how long that went on for? No. Look, we're probably losing the internet. All right.
Oh no, maybe you're still on. You're
No,
still...
no, if you can't, I
No,
will.
you're on.
No, I won't. Watch. So, anyways, in case we are still on the air,
I
because
think
if you're losing it, then I'll lose it. Anyways, I mean it's the same internet.
I know, but I think that it's yours. Internet sucks, and then it just gets overloaded.
Why has it got to be my internet?
I think it
sucks?
is, honey.
All right. I pay a lot of money for good internet.
I think you should have him. Have you had him come out and test it?
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go down another dark alley
Uh-huh.
in a moment. It's gonna be my lack of internet service, and I should have called them.
Well, you told
They've been
Station
out
to
here.
actually you told
Now
Station.
listen, here you go. I'm looking over at AJ's computer in case anybody's still out there, because God knows I don't know if I would still be listening.
Oh, here! Yay! Okay.
88 notifications on her Facebook. Okay.
What's wrong with
The
that?
maximum I ever had once was 22. And that was, I forget why. What it tells you is that she's just using us. she's not interested in what you responded or reacted.
Oh my
Social
God.
media
Oh
is
my
supposed to be an
God.
interactive.
I am interacting.
Media.
I went through today and made comments and likes and everything today on people's Facebook pages. I did very good.
So Radine at least can still see us. All right.
See, I said you were still up.
So I write this blog,
Yes.
and I published
good
one
blog.
today.
You
I
don't
don't
write
know
for
that
me
you
anymore.
ever read it. Well, I gave you some. You never asked me for more.
I ask you all the time. For
No,
more.
you don't.
Can
You
I
haven't
have
asked
another
me in
one?
forever.
Oh my God. Can I have another one? Please?
Sure.
Thank you.
So, anyways, I wrote about something I've seen
Okay.
unfolding, and so I titled it "I Thought I Knew Something," which is second only to the title of today's show, which is
I didn't see
"I'm
where
a
you put-
God-fearing, transgender,
yes.
loving,
Yeah, I got it.
recovering drug addict."
Okay. Yeah, take God-fearing out. You were so not God-fearing.
Okay,
I don't like that.
it was the
word.
title of today's
God
show.
loves us. We don't
Okay.
need to fear him.
All right.
Just my opinion.
So the new blog, which is on lawdisorder.blog, law disorder, no hyphen or anything, but you can get to it through the website, www.law-disorder.com, and then you can go to read.
Read.
Yeah, there's a tablet.
Tablet?
Yeah, for
There's
real.
a tablet.
So I was writing because I was on my way up to Chicago to see my mother.
That's
off.
that's the universal sign for driving.
Thank you.
There-
Or I could be in a cockpit.
You could be.
But I don't fly.
I know, thank God.
At least I don't fly the plane. So I was driving to Chicago, and I started getting agitated. And I called a guy I know in AA, and I said, I'm getting hostile. I was in Missouri. Missouri's got a lot of churches. I mean, a lot of churches. They got a lot of billboards. Uh, Jesus buys a lot of billboards in Missouri.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Well, it
God,
is the
God
heart-
does.
It is the heartland of the country, right?
And yeah,
Yes.
and you know, it's so pretty in the Ozarks, and you're like, oh, look at there's property for sale. Oh yeah, they
Oh,
don't
no.
want me here.
They don't want you there.
Yeah, so
You're a
and-
Jewish.
and
You're
so
a Jewish Buddhist.
it'll be you're
radical.
gonna meet God when you die. First thing you're gonna do when you die is meet God, and then it's got a phone number at the bottom, 833 truth, dot something. So, anyways, I was getting agitated because having lived in the Dallas area, which is the Bible Belt, for those of you that don't know the Bible Belt,
Very much the Bible
this is
Belt.
the Bible Belt. So, and wherever you have Bible Belt, you often have a lot of sexual peccadillos in practice.
Yes.
So for instance, Dallas, the DFW area had 27 topless clubs at one time.
Yes.
There's
How many are there now? Do you
There's
know?
not near that many.
I didn't think so.
Yeah. So a bunch of them lost that case with the city of Dallas. So I got to say, I'm going to see my mother. My mother passed away. Okay. So I knew she would, was going to pass sometime while I was there. And I'm thinking of my poor mother, which for me actually to think poor mother, that means I've grown a lot. And I'm thinking, why would somebody think my mother's going to hell? I mean, I really got upset.
Okay. I don't care what other people think, but go ahead.
Well,
I do sometimes. I shouldn't say all the time, but go ahead.
it's
Yes.
not that I'm invested in how they think.
It's
the concept that somebody would think
I know.
that a woman who's done no harm to anybody in their
I know.
lifetime would go someplace like hell,
Correct.
right? So I got mad. I called this guy Paul, and I said, I'm really upset. And he said, well, they're wrong, so don't worry about it. We'll talk more when you get back. And he's like, this is just like an aberration. The teachings are an aberration. Those teachings
Right.
are an aberration. So I wrote this thing because when I started out in youth services back in 1976, I designed and implemented and started my own youth serving agency. I wanted to work with street kids. First, I applied to the Boys Club. I applied to the YMCA. Every place that worked with kids, and they all said, you don't have enough education to work here. Well, because I was a high school dropout, I had no education. But
It was pre-lawyers.
But I said to them, go with this. I'm telling you, I can do this, right? I had one tell me, oh, do you speak Spanish? And I said, no, I don't speak Spanish. Well, you can't work with our population. It's a Hispanic population.
Uh-huh.
So about a mile from there, I created and started Local Motion, Inc., which was a youth serving agency, 501c3.
Which is a really cute name, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so part of having services for people in need is to network. It's really critical that you network. So I'm going to be working with street youth in 1976. And so one of the things I need to do is I need to know in this community what resources are already available. Am I going to be redundant? Am I providing a service already provided? So that's the first thing I do is look and see what well, there wasn't anything like what I wanted to do. Next, I go out and I introduce myself to the community. Before I ever meet a kid, I go and I knock on the Catholic Church, the Lutheran Church, Episcopal Church, the synagogue. I knocked on all the community organizations. So at first, now I met Steve Swanson. Steve Swanson was a Lutheran minister. He was so cute. He's a little older than me, and he was so patronizing. He's like, yeah, we hired a guy last summer to work with the kids here, and they broke the windows in his car, and they set his campsite on fire. But he set his campsite on fire. No.
He didn't know how to handle those kids.
He took them camping, and they dug a trench around him and put gas in it and put on fire. So he was in a ring of fire.
They really didn't like him.
So I said, yeah, I'm not worried about it, right? And he said, well,
that's how I am. Is that, no.
He pat me on the back. Said, good kid, go out and do whatever you do, and we'll touch base again someday.
Right.
Anyways, jump ahead. 2 years later, he was chairman of my board. He was very active in the organization. His church, the Resurrection Lutheran Church, was very engaged in the community, and he was very supportive of working with kids, not because they were Christian.
Right.
He never asked.
Right.
He didn't ask if they were Anglo or Swedish, because he was with a lot of Swedes in that church.
Oh,
right?
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he didn't care. Just go out, help these kids. Let me know what resource you need. Father Leslie from the Episcopal Church had a little gym in his church that wasn't being used. He's like, bring kids over, use the church. Let me know what you need. You want to hold a dance here? Let me know. Not because these kids were Episcopal, because they really weren't, none of them, right? So my admiration for Christians began to grow because my early childhood. And I read the New Testament at the time as a kind of homage to these two men that were being so helpful. I wanted to know something about their belief system, right? So I read Good News for Modern Man, whatever, and I had some discussions with them. Didn't go much further. Anyways, I wrote a blog because my faith in Christianity has been smashed
I understand.
by recent events, living in the Bible Belt and seeing so much animosity and hostility that it's not what I saw back in the day in Chicago.
Right.
And I don't get it. And so when you're talking about, in particular, the primary issue would be immigration.
Yes.
And gay rights. And I see a lot of memes and I hear a lot of conversations where people are more interested today in advocating how patriotic they are than in how humane they are.
Yes.
They're not showing compassion, they're showing fear. They're not showing kindness, they're showing resentment. And I wished Doug Stanhope's rant on immigration for probably the sixth time over the years. I met Doug Stanhope when I was broadcasting in Tucson, Arizona, and I heard him, and I was like, oh man, this guy's good and funny, because in his immigration rant, I've run it. God, it's been 15 years, maybe, since I first talked to him. So in response to Arizona's really harsh state laws about immigration, he really he drinks and smokes incessantly on stage. He's a horrible alcoholic, but what a good human being. And he's sitting there and he's chain smoking, and he's like, listen, I live in Bisbee, Arizona. I'm 40 miles from the border or something, maybe even closer. So, yeah, you see these, I see Border Patrol all day, every day. I never don't see, but and they pull over a Dodge Omni and seven or 10 guys. It's like a clown car. These illegal immigrants get out. They got no
He really
shoes.
did.
Yeah, no. He says they got no shoes.
He's coming back as
they
a
don't speak
cockroach.
English.
The cucaracha. He's coming back as a
They
cockroach.
don't speak. No. Wait. You're jumping to conclusions.
Oh, I'm jumping to conclusions.
Yeah. No.
I'm jumping to conclusions. I apologize.
They don't have shoes. They don't speak English. They have no education. He said, if they're taking your job, you're a loser of such monumental proportion.
Did he really?
Yeah.
This is awesome.
He said,
now my pen
you
has
shouldn't
changed.
get out of bed. He said, how did they train you in pantomime? Ooh. He starts doing the pantomime.
I know.
The bing bing. He said, did they teach you bing bing? Huh? So
It's offensive on so many rounds.
And he talked about. He starts.
Oh, I snorted.
The whole rant starts with the concept of nationalism, and that, and this is something that has bothered me for a long time. I love the United States. I have no desire to move anywhere or live anywhere. In fact, I don't even want to fly overseas anymore. I don't like flying, and I
could live somewhere else. That'd be cool.
I could, but you know what?
I'd be good.
There's so many places I haven't seen yet that I can drive to. And when you're driving, your car will not fall out of the sky. I'm just saying, okay? So I watched the Olympics. And you and I may have talked about this months ago. So I'm watching the Olympics, and there's Bob Costa and some of the other people. And they're like, Um, the Americans have 27 gold medals so far, and Russia's got 22, and Great Britain, and the going down thing, and it's like, yeah, we're kicking their asses,
I do that.
And there's Bulgaria, who's got one wrestler in the Olympics.
No.
Poor guy. How he trained? He went to some garage somewhere and they had some mats and everybody in town wrestled him
so
to
it was
try
a big
and
deal.
help him.
Right.
He had no coaching. He didn't have a professional staff. He's fed and he's given the kinds of training. Like, you know what? Talk to me about those guys.
Right.
Talk to me about the Jamaican bobsled team.
Right.
I'm
Do you
not
remember
saying
that swimmer from that random African country that swam and they didn't even think he was going to make it, and he made it to the end, and they gave him a standing ovation at the swimming.
Well, bless them.
It was wonderful.
And when you see they march in at the beginning, right? And they're holding up the flag, and the United States comes in, it's a 5-minute walk.
Right.
Because we got a lot of people.
Yep. Well, we're a first world country.
All these first world countries got a lot of people. And then here comes some, Turkish guys. I don't know. There's one guy, and they've got some ushers walking with them, so he's not alone.
Right.
And he's got to carry the flag, and he's a shot putter.
Yeah.
It's like that's the guy I'm rooting for, man. Tell me at the end of every day, how many of those guys, how are they doing? Given this,
where did they come from? How did they train?
We have had issues where our swim equipment was deemed illegal because it was specially designed by Nike to go through the water faster than the human skin. Right? We've been in all kinds of controversies about not just us, the Russians and the Germans getting on a lot of controversies, blood doping and all that stuff. I'm just saying, it's good to love your country. It's good to be proud. But my word, I'm a human first.
I know.
I've got my heart hurts for these.
Well, I get proud. I'm proud that they're there because still, wow.
Who's there?
I'm proud that those people are there that are from these third world countries that are making it, and just the whole thing. I think like that swimmer, I will never ever forget that swimmer because it was the most amazing thing. They didn't think he was going to make it because he was so tired at the end. And the entire stadium stood up and started screaming for this kid to make
unusual.
it. And plus it was a black kid swimming. I wouldn't see that hardly at all. Here he is, and it was amazing. And they interviewed him after, and it was a big deal. It was pretty cool.
So I'm not a nationalist. Was that the point?
I don't know honey, I don't know what your point is half the time. Don't ask me. I just sit here.
Hey, Tammy. Thank you, Kathy. Anyways.
It was a good blog, Kathy. I agree. It was awesome.
So I'm doing these blogs, and I got a lot of them. They've been racking up over the years. And,
you should make a little book.
They take work.
You can make a little book.
Here's the issue with the blog. You may know this because you publish Yoga Magazine online, Dallas Yoga Magazine online. And, it's the heat of the moment.
I know. DallasYogaMagazine.com.
Dallas Yoga Magazine. It's online. And you're publishing articles, and I don't know how much you go through this. I know you do some editing, but
I read every single article and edit it myself.
I don't know how much she really fits. Anyways,
I know.
So
I try.
And see this, Ernie just joined us. Ernie was an editor.
Site Ernie.
He was an editor. He just got here. He doesn't even know what we're talking
about.
about.
Oh, good. Don't prove my site. I
mentioned Ernie. We went to boarding school together.
Oh.
Yeah, and he became somebody, and I became me. So So what I was going to tell you is when you're writing a blog like Facebook, I have to be careful. Like there's Happy.
I love Happy.
Right?
I love you, Happy.
Politically, we're polarized, right?
We
don't do that. We don't talk politics. But here's the thing. When I write, I want to try to hear all the different permutations that somebody will hear.
Right.
And try to edit and try to eliminate all the potential pitfalls of, if they read this, they're going to think. Right.
But that's why you're a good writer.
And it's exhausting.
But that's what makes you a good writer.
Well, sometimes like this last one, I just pumped it out because it was exhausting,
Well, when you're passionate about something, it is exhausting.
But I love you people, and I appreciate that you tuned in. You know, if you want, a lot of you people live locally. Some of you are Chicago. Some of
Yay.
you are in New Hampshire. Ernie's in New Hampshire.
Oh, wow.
There's Ray Deems in Tucson. Craig's in Chicago.
Very cool.
But for those of you local, you know, we do this meditation every
Yes.
Wednesday night at the Buddhist temple, which is located 8484 Stoltz Road.
It is the most amazing, beautiful temple. It's amazing. It looks like it was picked up and stuck here from Thailand.
Right. But
It
the air
really
conditioning
does.
was broken last week.
Oh, you're kidding.
Well, we met downstairs. It was air conditioned downstairs,
Okay.
but the fire alarm was going off. So it was challenging. But anyways, most days,
Gorgeous
it's very
gardens.
soothing.
Yeah.
It's a good environment.
Yeah.
And
Gorgeous
we did 20
garden,
minutes
koi
sitting,
ponds.
20 minutes of walking, and then 20 minutes of sitting meditation.
And there's chairs if you want to sit on the chair.
Right. And I guide people. Most
Right.
people sit on the floor on a cushion. So I just wish
all
more,
different religions there.
more,
All different religions.
more people
It's
should
beautiful.
avail themselves of that, because, you know, I can't tell you how many times people come up and said, "Oh, when do you do that meditation?"
Right.
And this is the third time they've asked
Of
me.
course.
And I go, "Oh, yeah, Wednesday nights. Oh, what time? Let's do it 7. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I really need to do that.
Yeah, you
I
do.
agree. Yeah. You get it with yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah. When are you teaching yoga again?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still teaching
Same
11
thing.
o'clock on Monday. Oh, I
Same
really
thing.
need to go. Yes,
Yeah,
you
you do.
Right. So I'm just putting out there that not only should you go, go.
Right.
Okay. Meantime, I'm practicing law, and
We have the Cosmic Yogi Festival coming up
in November.
November 2nd. I'm promoting it now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, you said it as though it was imminent, and
Coming up November 2nd.
I see Corey joined. You know, she's the one who did the Extraordinary Neighbor podcast with me.
Uh-huh.
I got to hear some of it, and then I got interrupted because of my mom. So I never got to hear the whole thing.
Oh,
It
well, that was
wasn't-
very nice of you, Corey.
It wasn't the mood. I mean, the interview. I thought,
You said was good.
right.
Yeah, you really like working with them. You
But
really
when you're
liked it.
sitting in a room for 8 hours with your mom and a
You couldn't have
devoted
watched it
stupor.
with your headset on?
No, I wasn't in the mood.
Oh, you weren't? I'm sorry.
No,
I
yeah,
apologize. Yes, you
My
said
mom
that. I
was
get it.
stoned out of her mind.
I get it. I know.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
So
So sorry.
can you be a Buddhist and still be a Christian? And you know who answered that question? I'm sorry, this show ended 6 minutes ago. Thich Nhat Hanh answered that question.
Yes, I'm going to hear the answer.
Yeah, he says, of course you can be a Buddhist and be a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Buddhist is a practice. It's a way of living. It doesn't have to be a religion. And it doesn't have
What
to
an
be.
answer.
And really, he said, you know, it's a way of practice. It's a moral way of living your life. It doesn't require. And that was a question I had.
I like
when,
that.
When I
Why don't you write about that for the magazine?
okay.
That's a good one.
So when I was practicing with the monk,
Uh-huh.
I asked him, "Do I have to renounce being Jewish?" And he said, "No." And I said, well, I'm checking
You're the
because,
least. I know you're Jewish, but really,
well, I said, I don't want to go home and tell my mom I'm not
Right.
Jewish or anything like that.
right?
She ain't never hurt nobody.
know.
He said, no, you don't have to renounce anything. So I'm a Jewish Buddhist.
There you
Jubu,
go.
right?
You're a Jubu.
I'm a Jubu.
I love that.
Yeah,
Oh
so-
yeah, you need to write about that. That's a good topic.
So
Can I have
Tom,
that by
the
the end of
answer
the? Can I have
is,
that before September 1st?
and in fact, I have people that have been coming to my meditation. I've been doing it over 7 years.
Mhm.
People have been coming off and on throughout this. Most of them are not Buddhist.
Oh no, no majority. Are there one or two in there that are? That's about it.
Yeah. No, there's
There's a few, a
well,
handful.
there's a number of people that self-identify as.
Yeah, there's a
That's,
handful, but I was impressed with the woman who brought her daughter because her daughter was doing a school project on Buddhism, and the mother lived up the street and said, "Well, we're going to go to the Buddhist temple. We're going to go to meditation." I was impressed with her. She loved it, and I thought it was awesome.
As we close the show, let me apologize to everybody who comes on Wednesday night. I don't talk to people. I don't ask them their names. I don't remember the woman with the daughter because I'm afraid that I will have to remember.
Oh.
and I
I
can't.
talked to her. I enjoyed her.
So, what else do you? The website is
Law-
law-disorder.com.
Mm-hmm.
The Facebook page is Ken Gober's Law and Disorder. And turn your friends on to.
Well, don't turn your friends on, but tell them to watch the show.
Right, the YouTube channel, Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder YouTube channel.
Woo!
So, all right, I've done promoting Ken.
Okay.
What about you?
DallasYogaMagazine.com, CosmicYogiFestival.com.
Am I doing anything at the Cosmic Yogi Festival?
I'm sure you are.
Oh, I haven't been asked.
I know.
Look at the camera's up there, but if you want to see what we look like, you got to look down here.
Why?
Oh, by the way, do you think this is getting a bit?
I think it could be trimmed, but I
Yeah,
like it.
I'm
It
gonna.
just needs to be trimmed.
I trimmed it a week ago.
No, go have a girl trim it. They do a better job. Okay, we're leaving. See you next week. Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder every Tuesday, 6 p.m.